absolutely win MVP. Here's what he said. I don't think anybody would believe it. I don't know why they wouldn't believe it, but this is a different person. I don't know this guy. I don't know this new Jay Cutler. He's a totally different person. He's a totally different athlete. He's the first one in the building, and that sucks because I've tried to be the first one in the building. He's there at like 5 a.m. He lives it. I think he has a great balance in his life now with his personal stuff. Let's take a look at the current odds to win NFL MVP. Cutler is just outside the top 5, tied with Russell Wilson right there at the bottom at 20-1 in chances to win the most valuable player. Coach, Marshall has been a huge fan of Jay Cutler, as he should be, but are you buying this MVP talk?
I'm buying it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
That's what I wanted to hear.
I'm a Jay Cutler fan.
Okay.
And not because he went to Vanderbilt. My good friend.
Yeah. I mean, no one cares. Yeah.
No.
Be neutral.
Jay Cutler, you know, at times his demeanor is really not who he is. That's the perception of a lot of people when they look at this guy, how he plays and how he acts. It always looks like he's grumpy. But really, I think Mark Trestman, and I watched this offense last year, where it's at and where it's going, he has a quarterback whisper. And I think Brandon Marshall makes a great point. He has some balance in his life now. And I think he understands his clock is ticking on the backside, not the front side. He's on the backside of the golf tournament now. Okay, he's on the back nine, and he realized I got a pretty good football team here. And in the first year, they put some numbers up. And he didn't play every game, and he's got to stay healthy. But if he can stay healthy, they are going to put numbers up. Now they got to win. If they could win this division, they got a chance that the defense obviously can get better. And a lot of guys hurt and all that, but these guys. When you say Chicago Bears, you usually close your eyes and go, oh, defense. Now it's, I can't wait to see this offense. I mean, Forte, Marshall, Jeffries, Bennett. It's fun to watch, and Jay Cutler has a chance.
I'm going to hedge my bet on buying it, and here's why. He's been in Chicago for 5 years. He's only played one full season, one time. That was his first year. He's never had a quarterback rating over 90 in Chicago in the 5 years that he's been there. Maybe the best thing that could have happened for Jay Cutler was the fact that the guy that probably helped him change a little bit is no longer part of the Chicago Bears, and that is Josh McCown, who was absolutely terrific. When Jay Cutler got hurt, he stepped right in, and that offense looked a lot better with him under center than with Jay Cutler. So maybe Jay Cutler had a chance to sit back, look at that, and become a different quarterback because Josh McCown showed him the way. I'm hoping that Jay Cutler is not going to revert back to the Jay Cutler that we've seen at times, because in Chicago, he has 101 touchdown passes thrown. That's fantastic. 75 interceptions. That's way too much for a guy that Brandon Marshall believes can be an MVP or can be an elite quarterback. He has a great skill set. He has one of the best arms in the National Football League. And I like the support that he's gotten from Brandon Marshall. And I hope that the quarterback whisperer, Mark Trestman, is going to help Jay Cutler in his second year to be that guy. I'm still going to hedge my bet on that because I've heard this before, that Jay Cutler's a changed man. Jay Cutler's going to be a changed teammate. Jay Cutler's going to be a changed quarterback. And then he goes out there and he fumbles the ball and makes this bad throw and makes that bad throw. So until I see that consistently and he can play a full season for only the second time in his career with the Chicago Bears, I'm going to hedge my bets on Jay Cutler being an elite quarterback and an MVP candidate.
That's well said. I'll buy what you said. But I am completely buying what Brandon Marshall says, even though he should be a paid spokesman for Jay Cutler, because he's been on the shows, remember, the Super Bowl, and just it's like liftoff, because he's Jay's biggest PR guy.
He is.
And he believes it with all his heart and soul. They were obviously together in Denver. They've had great success together. I'm with you, Coach. Listen, this receiving core, it's the best in football this year. And I throw Forte into being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. All the pieces are in place on offense for Jay Cutler to have an MVP caliber year. I don't know if he'll be the MVP, depending on how many games they make, but he is capable of winning the MVP.
Yes.
The offensive line got much better last year. It should be even better this year. His problem before was, you talked about all of his health issues, they were just knocking the snot out of him, man. I mean, he'd get sacked 10, 12 times a game. Now he should be fairly well protected. It's more on him if he blows this one. And I do love Trestman's influence. And I do love it that he has 2 children now, and I think it has settled him a little bit. It's taken the grumpy out of his face a little bit. And I loved what Brett Favre said the other day. He said, you know what? in my 30s, I got a little better because my arm got a little worse. As my skills diminished, it forced me to say, wait a second, I don't need to throw it through that crack because I really can't do it anymore like I could when I was 22. Maybe Jay Cutler will have that enlightenment this year. There are some throws you just can't try.
Well, both of you guys make great points, and I think this with Jay Cutler, his margin of error is much greater now because of the length of these receivers he's playing with.
Yeah.
They open windows that before he would throw it in, interception, tip ball. Now it's caught. We watched it last year. So the windows are all of a sudden become way open because these guys go up and get the ball now. And Jay likes throwing in tight coverage. And he's got some athletic guys and go make some catches for him.
Well, I hope that's the case because you mentioned the offensive line issues. I thought at times that got in his head for good reason.
Sure.
Your offensive line can't protect you. But I also think Mark Trestman getting the ball out of his hands quicker. I think Jay Cutler at times, even with the offensive line problems, held the ball too long where he could have gotten the ball out of his hands quickly, a lot quicker, and then maybe have your defense play a little better for you. I think he has to be better at that, too.
Yep.
Gentlemen, shall we move on to some baseball?
Oh, hum, baby.
Here we go. This just in, according to ESPN and media reports, the
Roger
Red Sox
Craig.
will trade all-star pitcher John